Hello and welcome to another episode of It Came From the Page. And today I thought I would just kind of do a little video just in celebration of the first little bit of Christmas Evil Read-A-Thon, which is a fantastic readathon that I've been participating in throughout the month, and I thought I would give my first a little update. So we're going to actually start with a subsection, which is all of the movies I've been watching. Because, yeah, it's been a lot. I've been watching a fair bit of movies. Some have been live streamed with the Read-A-Thon, and others have just been things that I've put myself through for no good reason, but I have. Starting off, Black Christmas to start off the month. This was actually a live stream with the Christmas Evil Read-A-Thon, and it was a tons of fun. I always love this movie. One of the greatest movies ever made. Certainly the greatest Christmas horror movie ever made. Fuck Peter. All hail Claude the Cat. Next up, I watched another Wolf Cop, which is the sequel to Wolf Cop. Understandably, it is another one. This has like very, very minor Christmas stuff. And yeah, this is a movie that, the first Wolf Cop, very stupid. But there's a little bit of a charm to it, and there's probably an extra bit of charm for me because I literally live in the city where it was all shot, the original one. And the sequel, Another Wolf Cop, was not filmed very much. I think there was like a little bit of stuff that was filmed in my particular city, but not a whole lot. But at one point, characters actually visit my city, which was very interesting because this is very, very clearly like, oh, we're in the province of Saskatchewan for this, and it's a very, very Canadian movie. Another Wolf Cop has some fun moments. Like, I think that the Christmas element is very light. Like, it's there, but it's not super heavy Christmas by any stretch of the imagination. But it is quite fun. There are some gory sequences. There's a cool robot that Wolf Cop fights. So, yeah, anytime a werewolf is going to fight a robot, I'm down. And, yeah, a very stupid movie, though, so... If you liked the first one, you'd like this one. If you didn't like the first one, you won't like this one. So just be aware. Dumb movie, but I have a soft part for him. Next up is a movie you can only experience once, and that is 1989's Elves. Wow. This is like a trashterpiece. Like every single decision they made while making this movie was bad and questionable, and it all came together in a way that you're kind of like, I think I enjoyed that experience. That's a very bad movie, but very fun bad. Very gross in a lot of ways. Pretty offensive in quite a few as well. But the amount of sheer unadulterated trash that this is makes it at least worth one watch if you're okay with some of the trashier elements. Like, there's some incest and some puppet elf mating, but which is gross, obviously, but and there's one random ass F slur at the very end of the movie, and I was like, why would you do that? That's weird. That was unnecessary. Movie that has only been unnecessary throughout its entire runtime. What made you decide that decision? Yeah, it's bad. It's a very bad movie. It is kind of amazing to watch though, because every 5 seconds you're like, what? What? You made that decision of all decisions to make? Oh my lord. But yeah, terrible movie. Don't really recommend it. Then I watched Christmas Evil, which was another movie I watched with the Read-A-Thon. They were doing another streaming of that. I love Christmas Evil. Always have loved Christmas Evil. It, in my opinion, is the second best straight up holiday horror film. Nothing beats Black Christmas in my eyes, but I think Christmas Evil is right up there. Next, I experienced the horror yet again, which was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, We Wish You a Turtles Christmas. You can find this all on YouTube if you so dare. It is awful. It is unadulterated trash. All of the puppets look like horrific things that will eat you in your sleep. I wouldn't be surprised if 90% of the turtles in this are also someone's sleep paralysis demon. No. But also, yes. I watch it every year. It's awful. Then I watched for the first time, which is the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Alpha's Magical Christmas. This is so dumb, but it's actually kind of fun to just put on in the background while you're doing literally anything. Like, there is all of these, like, Christmas carols being sung, and the plot is literally Alpha 5's robot. The robot goes, ay, 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 Zordon! And it's basically like Ken being like, I do not understand the meaning of this Christmas. The Power Rangers are helping Santa Claus, but I am all alone. And he's all, like, sad about that. So Zordon does the natural thing that you do, which is kidnap a bunch of children and force them to sing Christmas carols and decorate with Alpha 5. No notes, 5 out of 5 stars. Next up, I watched the Ginger Dead Man. The stream was fun. This movie, though? No, God, no. Then yesterday I made the terrible decision, which was to watch 4 Silent Night, Deadly Night movies. This is Silent Night, Deadly Night 3. Not very good, kind of fun, the pacing, bad. Silent Night, Deadly Night 4, The Initiation, holy shit, this was amazing. This is absolutely wild, absolutely bonkers. To try to describe it in any meaningful way would be impossible. I don't really understand what happened in it. There was a bunch of evil bug monsters. It's barely Christmas themed, but the Christmas stuff is there, and there's a lot of Christmas decorations. It has nothing to do with the other Silent Night, Deadly Night films, and thank God it doesn't, because those movies were getting kind of boring. And it is a wonder to behold. There is this Jewish lady reporter who is trying to discover why someone spontaneously combusted, and that leads her into this super-duper old lady book club cult that worships Lilith, and it's a hell of a time. Clint Howard is in this, making all kinds of weird spaces, tons of weird bugs, and the bugs look like really gross, like, but like, damn, this is crazy. Then there's Silent Night, Deadly Night 5, The Toy Maker. Pretty damn crazy. I didn't like this one as much as The Initiation, but this one is much more Christmas. It is probably the most Christmas of them since the first Silent Night, Deadly Night movie. There is a evil toy maker played by Mickey Rooney who's just making killer toys. There are some wild deaths in this, but it gets a little rapey near the end, and it's very, very weird and very bad. It's still interesting enough to warrant a watch. And the kills are surprisingly amazing. Like, the kills are really well done in this. But as a movie itself, it's iffy. And then I watched the remake, Silent Night. Fucking hated the Silent Night remake. Reminded me a lot of the 2 Terrifier films. And if you've never seen the Terrifier films, just imagine the worst films possible. And there you go. You just imagine the Terrifier films. Next up, this morning, just came out today as I'm recording this and as I'm uploading this. And this is Christmas, Bloody Christmas. This came out on Shudder. This is a Joe Bigos joint. And yeah. I love this. I had a great time with this. This is literally the Terminator, but at Christmas. I think a lot of your mileage will vary as to how much you enjoy the central characters at the heart of it. But I did, and I found it extremely entertaining, and the actual action bits with the robot Santa Terminator were absolutely outstanding. I am a fan of Joe Bigos already. I have a soft spot for that filmmaker, but this might be my favorite Joe Bigos joint. This was really good. This is a new Christmas classic, so I'll be watching this every year now. So if you're into robot-y action and characters who kind of sound like they're like hate each other or do they like each other, they just kind of talk about pop culture a bunch, but it sounds way more natural than like shitty Tarantino films. Yeah, that's right, I said it. And it just seems like 2 people hanging out. So yeah, I had a good time with this, and I definitely recommend that one. Next up, now we are entering the books I read for the Read-A-Thon. I started the month off by reading one of the final A Cat Called Hope stories, and these are a series of cat-based short stories written by our own CriminOlly. CriminOlly wrote a whole bunch of cat-based books in his earlier years, and I love them. I read the first 3 in like a little collection that they had, and then I saw that there was a Cat Called Hope's Christmas special, Christmas Carol, and I was like, oh my goodness, this sounds amazing. I thought that it was a full book, because I misread the the Kindle Unlimited like reference sheet about like how long it was. I thought this was like a full 300-page novel that he wrote that was just a Christmas Carol with his cat. It's only 19 pages, but it is outstanding. I loved it. I love all of these stories, and I wish he would write more. Write more cat stories. A cat called Hope returns. Come on. Make that SEO roll. Next up, I read the very little short story collection, and that is Dead of Winter by Keelan Patrick Burke. Really good stuff. I had a great time with it, and I thought that there were some really cool little short stories in this. Again, it's only about 97 pages or so. Like, it is not very long, and all the stories in there are quite good. I didn't find any of them duds, and they kind of go really quick, and they're easy to digest and perfect for this time period. So I will definitely be reading Dead of Leaves, which is his Halloween little anthology in the future, because I've always meant to read that one, but I never have, and I'm glad I finally read one of his books. So yeah, Keelan Patrick Burke's Dead of Winter. I recommend it. Quite good. Something that's not good at all, I buddy read Sleigh Bells by Joe Gibson, and I buddy read this with Kelly from Kelly Hooks on Books and Kelsey from Slime and Slashers. This book sucked. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. It was kind of like a YA book. It was kind of fun when they were like hanging out in the mall, but you know, there's all these people who get stranded at a mall and then they start getting picked off one by one. And yeah, it was very poorly written. It got fun at a point when you're like, wow, this is trash. And you can kind of like get into this. You're like, wow, that was a terrible page I just read. This is hilarious. And the dialogue that people say is like pretty bad. Early on though, there's some like offensive stuff going on in here. Like there's some bad racist jokes that like show up, and I'm like, oof, this is a bad book, and now you make this really bad. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend Sleigh Bells. I'm glad I just read it on archive.org. Do not spend good money on this one. Oh god. And that was for the slasher prompt. Dead of Winter was for the winter reads, obviously. Then my next book is a Resident Evil book, which is one of my gifted books because my good friend Alex Pattison gave it to me. And yeah, this is the very first book that kind of recaps the first Resident Evil game. This is by S.D. Perry. I really like this. Like, it was surprisingly well done, and it really did encapsulate the feeling of playing those original games. If you are a fan of the original Resident Evil games, yeah, I would definitely give this a shot. Like, this is quite fun. I think the writing is like actually pretty solid, and I'm amazed that it managed to like balance like puzzles solving and stuff like that with like a forward plot that like didn't like derail every time that they entered a new challenge room or something like that. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. I was not expecting to like this much, if at all. So huge surprise. And I'm glad I have the other 5. Actually, yeah, no, the other 6, because Resident Evil 0 is also one of the books. So there's like this series, there's like 7 of them in total. So I'm quite looking forward to that. Road of Bones, I read this as well. This could fit in any number of prompts. I believe I just said for the set in winter prompt. Again, I have already filled out half of the bingo board, over half of the bingo board. So I am just going to keep reading and then end up slotting everything basically afterwards. But yeah, no, this is clearly set in winter. It's basically the story about these documentary filmmakers who go to Siberia, I believe, to go on this very famous, horrifying highway called the Road of Bones. And it's called the Road of Bones because a lot of people died while making it under Stalin's rule in Russia, and it was really harrowing and bad. This does not go where I was expecting it to. This has some ghost story elements, but it's actually kind of more of a creature feature. And yeah, I had a great time with it. I did think that this is definitely worth checking out. Christopher Golden really kind of makes you feel how freaking cold it is, which is like really impressive here. So if you haven't read this one, I would definitely recommend it. Read-A-Thons was quite enjoyable. And then for my middle grade book, I actually read Godzilla King of the Monsters, which is a digest novel that was like, I think like maybe 97 pages, super quick to read. I was just in the mood for reading something Godzilla based, so I had like a Fear Street book set aside for this, but I was like, whatever, I just want to read some Godzilla stuff. So I ended up reading the Godzilla thing instead. I just recently picked this one up. I found it, I believe, for a good price on like thrift books. And yeah, it was a kid's book, but I had a lot of fun with it. And there were some good Godzilla dancing moments. Yeah, guys, Godzilla dances in this book. And it is wonderful. And rounding out the final book that I did end up reading so far is for my reindeer read, which was to read a book that was translated. For this one, I read The Girl Who Died, which was a Icelandic book written by, you see the name, I am not going to butcher it here. This was outstanding. This was a thriller, not too horror based, and it was a very slow burn thriller. So for the majority of it, you're kind of just living with this girl who, she is a teacher, and she moves to this really small town to take on a remote teaching job, which only has 2 students in there. And she is living in this attic, and this small town has something mysterious going on. And there is mostly just slice of life stuff for the most part. Like, you really kind of feel what it's like to live in this small town. You get to know everyone who lives in this small town really well. And, you get a sense that something's off. There's a little bit of ghosty stuff at some points. But for the most part, like, it doesn't really pick up as far as, like, reveals and, like, craziness until the very end of this book. But I was really enjoying the ride, and I think it has a great ending. And the ending has a lot of depth to it. And there is a lot of moral complexity to this ending. And what I really appreciate about this book is it doesn't try to separate you from the consequences of our characters' decisions. Because, yeah, you get to really understand what this costs another person in terms of the end of this book and what it means to, keep a secret, really. And yeah, I fucking loved it. I had a great time with this. I'd actually never heard of this author before, but apparently he is fairly big in like the thriller circle. I will definitely read another one by him. One of my favorite reads of the year. So yeah, that is a super big recommendation from me. So yeah, guys, what have you guys been reading and what have you guys been watching for Christmas Evil so far? I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Thank you. Goodbye.